What's up, fam? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva, and knowledge. Lady Mocha representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. So I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. One of your favorite non-biased female content creators that goes in on both black men and black women because we both are a work in progress. So nevertheless, y'all, I did an upload yesterday about the unhinged male incel, about of course the man who murdered the fiance and mother of his 6 children yesterday. So if y'all did not catch that episode, please make sure y'all watch the playback. I gave a lot of good, valid information in there. I feel that would be an asset to many of you. So nevertheless, I decided to do recipe today on Texas woman who set boyfriend on fire to be charged with murder. The North Texas woman who set her boyfriend on fire is set to face murder charges after he died from his injuries. Ricky Doyle, 25, died 2 weeks after Breonna Johnson, 24, pumped gas into the back seat where he was sitting and intentionally set him on fire. The attack took place on July 18th at a gas station on East Maywood Road in Texas, Arlington, Texas, following an argument between the couple. Eyewitnesses say they rushed to put out the flames as Johnson drove off smiling, according to her arrest warrant. She was arrested the next day and charged with 1 count of aggravated assault. Meanwhile, Doyle spent the next 2 weeks fighting for his life. He suffered from burns all over his body before dying August 2nd, prompting the new charges. According to the NBC, Doyle was first taken to Medical City, Arlington, and then transferred to a hospital in Plano where he was being treated for burns covering more than 90% of his body. I was so scared to touch another part because I didn't know. I didn't want to damage another part. I said, would it be okay if I touch his foot? The doctor said, yes, go ahead. Doyle's mother, Lisa, told the station, that's the only part of his body I could touch. That all that was left. Doyle's sister, Michaela, recalled the argument that led up to her brother being set on fire. She, Johnson, started beating on his chest. Michaela told the news. She took his phone. She threw his phone. Then she came back and she picked up his phone, threw it at him, then started beating on his chest. We knew she was abusive to him, but we didn't see this coming, she added. We didn't know this was going to come to this. Michaela said she was on the phone with police when Johnson drove off in her Jeep with Doyle inside. After arriving at the gas station, Johnson purchased 50 cents worth of gas and pumped it into the back seat where Doyle was sitting and intentionally set it aflame. Wow, y'all. So as y'all can see, this has been one of those toxic relationships, that's probably been spewing and brewing with drama for a very long, consistent amount of time, which is the reason it escalated to this point. Just like I stated with the young lady that was murdered yesterday from, not murdered yesterday, but the upload that I did yesterday in which I talked about the woman who was murdered by her fiance, who was also the father of 6 of her children. Same case, only difference was it was the man who murdered the woman in this case. And it was a lot of abuse that was already occurring throughout the relationship. Family members have already said it was volatile. There's been already occurrences of physical and mental abuse. No different with this situation here with this young man, Mr. Doyle, who was murdered by his girlfriend, Mrs. Johnson. So whenever you have a relationship, if you're in a relationship currently right now, whether if you're the man being abused or you're the woman being abused, you keep in mind, if this is an ongoing trend, if this is a continuous way of how y'all deal with y'all problems by physically fighting each other or verbally abusing each other, whatever the case is, eventually it's going to escalate. And this is what happens when you allow abuse to become normal in your relationship. It becomes toxic, and it's even worse in marriages. It becomes very toxic. It becomes very volatile, and again, eventually, it's going to escalate where somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to end up dead, or in the worst case, also in prison, in jail. Either way, the results are never really good when this becomes a continuous issue in your relationship. You're physically fighting. You're pushing each other, slapping each other, punching each other, boxing each other, slapping each other. I don't care if it seems small, maybe never escalated to you going to the hospital, but eventually it's going to get to that place. But anyway, I want to talk about this because all the time we hear about women being abused. We hear about women being the victims of domestic violence. And the truth is, you do have some men, the percentages are not as high compared to the women, but you also have men that are getting physically and verbally abused at the hands of a woman. Now, in most cases, this usually happens to more younger men. Then I noticed older men. Mr. Doyle was, 25, and Miss Johnson was 24, so he was still a young man. And it's very imperative that if you have a son, in real life, I actually had a brother who was going through something like this. He ended up, in a relationship with this very toxic female, who he did not realize had a lot of problems from her childhood, who um is very insecure. She has a lot of self-esteem issues and things of that nature. And at the time, I guess he was going by her physical attributes, because she's light skinned, Becky with the pretty hair and all of this other stuff. He didn't take the time to get to learn the content within the package. And this is what happens to a lot of men and women. You're so focused on the beautiful wrapping. It's kind of like getting a Christmas gift. You're looking at how pretty the bow is, how pretty the wrapping is, this pretty, metallic wrapper, that makes the package stand out and look pretty. But as you tend to open the package and you unwrap it, as you go further into the content of the package, you realize as you open it, it's a box of rocks. You know what I mean? It's nothing like you thought it was, because you were so busy focusing on the outer package, the physical attributes. And this is something that a lot of men and women are guilty of. You're so focused on a person's physical attributes, how handsome they look, how beautiful they look. You're looking at a woman's assets instead of her mental well-being. You're looking at a man's pockets instead of his mental stability. A lot of men and women have ended up in really bad, chaotic situations because you're so busy looking at what a person has to offer on the outside that you're not taking a chance to learn the inside. My brother really didn't know this female that well, and come to find out she had a lot of childhood issues. She had a lot of mental issues. Her first relationship before they got in a relationship was very volatile as well. The girl had a lot of baggage. She had more baggage than American Airlines, basically. So she had all this baggage and all of this, mental illnesses and conditions going on. He wasn't prepared for it. He didn't really realize what he was getting into. And you have some of these young men out here that are not thuggish. Not all black males are thuggish. They all are not ghetto and ratchet, in which they are used to dealing with chaotic females. And sometimes when you get some of these what they consider lames or square dudes that aren't used to dealing with very dominant women. A lot of these, females, in which you can look at her thumbnail, it tells she's a pit bull. You have some of these pit bull looking women, and it's not, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but to tell you guys and let you men know, it's not only the unattractive females you got to be cautious of, you also have to be cautious of the attractive female. Anytime you're dealing with a female that's very dominant, and she wants to be more masculine than you can very well end up in these type of situations. Now, Mr. Doyle was probably one of those type of guys, wasn't real thugged out, or didn't believe in putting his hands on women, or he never dealt with a female of her caliber to know how to handle her. Could be several factors that played into this, but whatever the case was, she's been physically fighting this man. And you have some of these females out here that are very male identified. They want to be more masculine than the men they are with, but then they don't respect the men that allow them to be overly dominant and to be overly masculine. So you have a lot of these young men, and this is why it's important, if you have a son, if you have a nephew, that you really school them and make them understand that you do have some young women out here that are very volatile. You have some females that are very toxic. They will put paws on a nigga in a heartbeat. They will put their paws on a nigga. It's that quick and simple. And the reason why you have some of these females that are very toxic and have that masculine energy is for many various reasons. For one, she might have masculine energy because she's been raised by a single mother and she's always seen her mother dominate men, talk to men like trash and treat them like garbage, or either she grew up in a household with a father that was spineless, that allowed the mother to run all over her, so she's learned to adopt those overly dominant ways from her mothers. Because believe it or not, just because a woman grew up with a father, that didn't mean she had a stable father or a good father. Some men back in the day were pushovers. Some men allowed their women to dominate and control and regulate everything, and he just sit there and took it. So if she's been raised in a household in which her father never had to say so and her mother always led and ran everything, she's going to think that's normal. She's going to normalize that behavior and think she could do it with men as well. Or either the father was so abusive and so dominant, and she probably was, probably was one of his victims too, as well as her mother, maybe, under the control of the father. And maybe the abuse she encountered as a child made her despise men, resent men, to the point to where she feels like she has to be a pit bull and maintain her respect by putting her hands on the man. So again, this is not to justify any type of female pit bull masculine behavior. This is not to justify it. This is just to break down the causes and some of the factors that probably contributed to it. And not, if not that, you just have some females that have this pit bull masculine energy, in which if a man will allow them to run over them, she's going to do it. And you have women like this. They don't want to be with lames. They don't respect them, but they like the fact that they can dominate and can control. So based on the circumstances surrounding this situation and the fact that the family has already been aware that there has been a lot of physical and verbal abuse, I don't think this guy really knew how to really deal with her. And she really got lucky, because you have some men, especially young guys, when you try to dominate them and you physically put your hands on them, they will kill you. They will strike back. They will fight you. So I don't know if this guy was just very humble. You have some men that are not weak. It's not so much that they're weak because they don't put their hands on a woman. You have some men that are just very humble human beings, and these type of men, they are considered as lames. They are considered as um um better males, and it's not always the case. You just have some men that are not violent. They're not going to put their hands on a woman. That's just them. It doesn't make them lame. It doesn't make them soft. You have some men that just don't like prison. They don't like jail, or they were brought in a household in which they were taught to respect women no matter what. And no matter what a woman does, remember back in the day, if a girl hits you, you don't hit her back. Remember, that's how men were taught. He could have been very well one of those type of guys, and her already being, having that masculine energy, she didn't respect that. If anything, it made her even more receptive to beating on this man and physically attacking him. Now, you don't have a lot of female content creators that talk about this. It's always women that are the only victims, but nobody ever really talks about the fact that you do have men out here that are getting their ass whooped. And and the reason you won't hear too much about it, you won't get too much pushback about it, because for one, men are taught in society that you have to be a man. So if a man is getting his ass whooped, he's not going to confide in his homeboys and say, you know what, my wife is beating on me every night, or my baby mama, my fiance, she's always hitting on me. For one, it's embarrassing. It looks bad to his ego. And you have men out there that will make a mockery out of him. And it's sad, but we're in a society where men cannot really be transparent and let other men, or other women for that matter, know what they're going through, because he's looked at as soft. He's looked at and perceived as a better male. He's perceived as being spineless, not having a backbone, not being able to hold his own. And that's not always the case. You have some guys, some men that were just raised different. It don't make him less than a man. If anything, it really takes that really shows the restraint, that Chris Rock restraint of being able to keep your composure even when somebody has brutally attacked you, and and you're not lashing out and going back at them. It shows a lot of restraint, but a lot of people are not going to see it as restraint. They're going to perceive it as weak. So you have a lot of young men that some of them are whipped, are so in love, are so fretful in the sense of the female pit bull that they're with. They just don't want to make any waves. So you have some men that feel like, well, if I'm a man, I should just be able to take the abuse. I should be able to accept it. So it's that ego that makes a man in some cases feel like if he's a real man, he should just deal with it. When we know that's not the truth. You're not being a real man just because you're allowing a woman to physically abuse you and verbally attack you. But in this case, we're talking about physical, okay? Because physical leads to major drastic outcome. In this case, this man lost his life. So nevertheless, she set this man on fire because there was an argument, and basically whatever it was this time that made her resort to it, he must have finally stood up for himself, or either he said something really really funky to her that really provoked her inner incel female pit bull energy. He might have said something really, messed up to bruise her ego. Like, I don't know, I'm just hypothetically speaking. You fat bitch, that's why I'm with other bitches now, or you ain't nobody. Whatever it was, there was a trigger. Because if he was humble and docile, she wouldn't have had a reason to set him on fire. So, in my theory, I'm assuming he said something that really hit below the belt and she couldn't handle it. Now, keep in mind, we got this pit bull, Wolverine face looking female. Females, and I'm just be honest, and I may lose my brownie points. Most unattractive women, or most basic Brendas like this female here in the thumbnail, you can tell she probably does not get a lot of attention from men. She's definitely below average. She's definitely above savage. We put it that way. But you can tell just based on her looks, and I know looks ain't everything, but that she knew she was limited in choices. She doesn't have all type of men knocking out her door, dropping to her feet. She's just very average. She's very standard. She's not that attractive. So when you get these, militant face looking females, when they do get a man that's very catering to them, or not even so much catering, just the fact that a man, like any man that's willing to be with them, that gives them a high ego stroke. That makes them feel very superior, because now she's feeling like she finally has somebody, you know what I'm saying, who she can drag. And women that aren't used to getting attention, that aren't used to men checking for them, when they do find that one brother that's willing to act like a puppy in her presence, that's willing to submit to her and be her man and care for her, she drags him. Because you got to realize this woman's not used, these type of females, they're not used to getting attention. They're not used to having men that want them, that desire them, that want to be with them. So when they finally get a man that's interested in them, they take them through changes. And the funny part is, I wouldn't be surprised if in the initial beginning, she probably ran after him, chased him down. That's how these pit bull Wolverine looking females do. They will run a guy down, run him down, run him down, run him down. He could push off, show no interest for a while. But some of these Wolverine face looking females are so determined, they're very aggressive, especially when they set their eyes on a certain guy. And if he shows just a little bit of interest, he may try to play hardcore in the beginning. But the incel pit bull female, she can smell that she's finally breaking him in. She can smell when he starts smiling with her a little, holding a little conversation. She starts easing her way in, and she knows, okay, so far I'm getting him where I want him at. I'm getting his attention. He is responding to me. He is talking back to me. And she just continues luring him in. And in most cases, what most Wolverine face looking females do, what they do is they give up the cookies because they know they have nothing else going for them. So they make sure, because they're lacking in the physical looks department, they compensate for that by doing extra things that most attractive women don't have to do. They have to pursue them more, be more aggressive. The Wolverine faced looking chick, she has to do way more than the above average chick. She has to pursue him, run him down, basically chase him to get his attention. And if she catches him at the right place at the right time, if there's nothing going for him, or he just broke up with a girl he really loved, or he's feeling down on his luck, the Wolverine face looking chick knows she has to prey on him while he's at his most vulnerable moment. And depending on what's going on in the man's life, he's not feeling worthy of himself. He's kind of down on his luck. He's not doing too good with women, And he has this Wolverine face looking chick always coming around, doing nice things for him, picking him up from work, bringing him lunch. Let me tell you something. The Wolverine faced looking chick, she knows how to get a brother under her paws. She knows how to get him under her thumb. She's going to do things that the pretty, beautiful women don't have to do. She's going to go the extra mile. She's going to make him sandwiches every day, bring sandwiches to his job. She's going to invite him over to her house every day, cook for him, stroke his ego, make him feel like a king. And most importantly, she's going to put that head game down. I can look at this chick and look at her lips, and I can tell she has a PhD in a given head degree. I can tell she's an expert at giving some brain. She has a damaged brain, but I know she's good at giving brain. Most Wolverine face looking chicks know how to give brain. They will do things the attractive women such as myself that we ain't got to do. She got to go the extra mile. So a lot of times they get the lame, they get the low self-esteem brother who already doesn't have much confidence within himself. And she turns him out in that bedroom and gets him to that sunken place where he don't want to deal with her. He knows she toxic. He knows she a handful, but at the same time, he don't want to lose those brain benefits. She will suck him and fuck him for hours. That's what the Wolverine face looking chicks do, which is why a lot of these young guys, especially those who don't know no better, especially if she turned him out, he's not used to getting that type of sexual gratification or sexual attention. He wants to leave, but he don't want to leave those brain benefits. A lot of these guys know the women they with are toxic, not good for them. They know the Wolverine, militant face looking chick. He's tired of her. He don't want her. He knows she's a headache. His sisters done said, get away from that crazy chick. His mama done said, get away from that crazy chick. Everybody done told him to get away from her. But no. That brain game will forever stick to the lane. A lame that's not used to getting good brain will eventually get caught up in her game. It happens all the time. Now, he's not a bad looking guy, but I can tell he probably didn't have a lot of females flocking at his feet. The Wolverine chick knows when and how to approach and target the inconfident dude. I really think, the argument that took place, like I said, he said something to her to sting her confidence. And the only way at that moment she felt like she could gain control was by throwing that gasoline on him and lighting him on fire. Okay, because at that point she felt like, and probably been losing control for we don't know how long, because it comes a point when people get tired of you talking to them recklessly, disrespecting them, and people start firing back. They start going back, just like the upload I told you yesterday. She took a lot off her fiance, and she finally got tired of it, so she put a restraining order out on him, and she even moved. And for whatever reason, she did not follow her restraining order because she took a chance and she went to meet with him, which is one of the other things I meant to mention in the content yesterday, because the guy, Mr. Thompson, ended up murdering Miss Lockhart. This was in yesterday's upload, what I was talking about, not to digress, but she took a chance and she went to go meet him. And this thing about it, when you finally decide to stand up to an abuser, whether if it's a man or a woman, you cannot double back. You cannot go meet with them. You cannot go have a heart-to-heart. Because if you're not willing to say what they want you to say, like, baby, we'll work it out. We'll reconsider. Let's see if we can try to make things work. That's probably what happened in Miss Lockhart's case, and the reason why her fiance murdered her, because he thought that, he can redeem himself by, how these dudes be coming off, I'm sorry, baby, I realize, I don't want to lose my family. I don't want another man raising my children. I'm going to do right. I'm not going to hit you no more. I'm not going to put my hands on you no more. You know what I mean? I'm going to go get help. I'm going to go get counseling. He probably said all the right things, and at that time she wasn't buying it no more. So what he did, he decided to stab her for 18 times. Because the manipulation was not working. The baby I'm sorry song, or everything we had, whatever soap opera love and flip-flop lines he told her, she probably said, I hear you, but I made up my mind. We done gone through this before. I'm not going back and forth with this. I got to do what's best for me and the girls. And he snapped and he killed her. And that's probably what the case with this man here. He probably got tired of her shit and was like, you know what? I'm tired of you. I'm sick of this. You know what? Just drop me off back home. I'm sick of you. The dude probably got tired of her. He probably told her about herself, and she didn't like it. And to add insult to injury, after she set him on fire, she had the audacity to smile, as if other people was not there, knowing they was going to say something sooner than later. A Wolverine-faced chick, and like I said, it's not just the unattractive chicks, fellas, even the pretty women cannot handle rejection. A matter of fact, the attractive women are worse, because they think because of their looks that no dude is capable of leaving them. And to find out one who does not care about you having Becky good hair, doesn't care about you being light-skinned, doesn't care about you having a fat ass, he's tired of dealing with your drama. None of that is enough to keep him content, to keep him holding on to you when you taking him through all type of unnecessary hell and back. So these type of females that think a man can never, will never, is not supposed to leave them. You got some of these, male-identified female incels that really start to gain a sense of entitlement, especially when you get certain dudes that put them on the pedestal and tell them because of their Becky the good hair, they got light skin privileges and all this other stuff, only to find out when she gets with a man who doesn't give a shit about her light skin privileges, he realized she has a brain injury. She's a Looney Tune. She's not all the way there. She's not a woman. You can't talk no common sense into her. She's crazy. He does not care about Becky with the good hair. He doesn't care eventually about how good the brain, the head game is, because she play a lot of head games, mind games. You got females like this that make a lot of men confused because they do everything for a man, but then they shit on them at the same time. This type of female, let me tell you how crazy some of these females are. You have some of these females that will do all type of stuff to provoke a man to hit him. And if he's a better male and doesn't understand her manipulative tactics, he will fall into it, hit her back, put his hands on her. She'll call the police and don't let him have a probation officer. She'll call his PO, snitch on him, get him locked up, then turn around and pay to bail him out. Turn around and beg the PO to let him out. Well, how long he got to be in there? Do you have some toxic ass females that do this all the time? Don't want a man, but at the same time, don't mind dragging a man if they do get one. The Wolverine face chick, she gives me those Wolverine faced vibes. I'm getting these vibes from her that she would do for him, but at the same time, she would do him in. And you got some of these females, you got some females that are very narcissistic, like some of these guys. They don't want you, but they don't want you to be happy with anybody else. They're afraid that somebody else is going to get something from them that, you know, get something out of them that they want to be the only ones to have. It's very sad. It's sad because what she's not understanding is now she's going to do a lot of time. She's going to be in prison. She's going to lose her freedom. And in the long run, she's going to regret this. She's going to look back and reflect and realize, you know what? This wasn't worth it. And especially if she's never really been to jail before, prison before. I've seen women who do extreme things like this only after a year or two of being incarcerated. They realize they really can't handle the time because they did not think about all of that before they took things this far. Been in there for about a year or two to find out how suffocating being in prison is when you're away from your family, away from your friends, away from your children, and reality starts setting in. Now you want to go appeal, and you appeal until your appeals run out and you can't appeal no more and you stuck. And I believe that's what she's going to do. She did all of this in the heat of the moment because she was not getting the same humble, docile dude that had just let her shit on him and he takes it. Evidently, he stood up for himself. He said something to trigger her. Even if it's something as, man, F you, I ain't got time for this. It's something he said. And it made her make her feel like, damn, I ain't got no control over him. I can't just shit on him and talk to him all kind of way. He's actually going to stand up to me and put me back in my place. He's not just going to sit there and let me say and do what I want to do. And that's what happened. She snapped because this dude got tired of her mess and he said something to her. He didn't say, okay, baby, you right. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to shut my mouth. No, he got fun. I guarantee you, because this ain't the first time he done had drama with her. And probably today just was not the day. And every victim finally gets to that place in some cases where today is not the day. I'm leaving my abuser or I'm defending myself. I'm going to talk shit back. And sometimes you take that moment. And that'll be that one moment they take you. You take that moment to defend yourself. You got to realize an abuser, whether man or woman, is used to having control. And the day you stand up, that could be the day you lose your life. So it's nothing wrong with putting your foot down, but you got to be careful how you put your foot down. Like my grandmother said, you got to slowly move your arm out of a wolf's mouth, out of a lion's mouth. You can't just snatch, the control back because they're going to bite back. They're going to puncture you. Sometimes you have to mentally plan. Don't give them no warning signs. Don't tell them anything that's going to give them incentive that you're tired of this shit. Like, I'm tired of you. I don't want no more of this. I'm done with this. Sometimes you got to let your actions, in most cases, you got to let your actions speak louder than words. That goes for man and women. Because every man and mostly women that have decided to put their foot down and say, today, I'm taking my kids, I'm done with you. You got to realize this person I had control for what? The majority of the relationship. They had the majority of control for what? 3 to 5, 6, 7 years. And the day you want to snatch that control? Do you realize when you snatch control, the abuser gets out of control? Because he doesn't know what to do. He wasn't prepared or she wasn't prepared for you putting your foot down. She's used to being a freight train and just running over you and you dealing with it. And you put a person in a culture shock when you say, fuck that, the day a new day. They be like, what? You seriously? Gonna take control from me? I can't talk crap to you no more. I can't slap you around. When I'm going through hell and back, I can't kick you no more. Person that got used to you being an emotional or physical punching bag, and now you're going to take away their access from not being able to do that. They're going to go ham on you. They're going to try to destroy you. And that's what happened. You have, and that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I got a family member, I have a brother. We had he finally got to that place in which he realized, I got to leave this chick because I'm going to end up in prison. I'm going to lose my freedom. And he said this to me. He said, I realized, because it took him a while. We've been saw crazy. Let me tell you something, guys. When we tell you, when you have a sister, you have an aunt, you have a mother that's telling you, hey, that chick is crazy. Something about her ain't right. Something about her said well with me. Don't think that your female friends or whoever is hating on you. Even if you don't want to believe it, at least pay attention to the signs, because women, we got a way of feeling other women out. A woman knows a woman like a man knows a man. When I met my brother's baby mama, I knew right off the muscle. I said, this girl, she a handful. And I know my brother was kind of like a lame, you know, on my dad's side. They don't have a lot of experience with women. And then she was his first, you know, piece of action. So all of that had his head going. But after a while, he realized she's a narcissistic chick. Again, a narcissistic chick will do for you and then screw you at the same time and do you in. Like I said, get you locked up in jail and then turn around and bail you out. Just so she could prove a point. I can make your life miserable if you piss me off. He saw which direction he was going. Fortunately, he was smart enough to see where it was going. And he waited till she got to work. And he had his family, everybody over there help meet him and help him get all his stuff out the house. He had the police. He was smart enough to call the police, get the police to escort him while she was at work so he can get all of his stuff, get all of his things out of there. Because he knew if he would have tried to get all of his things out of there while she was there, all hell would have broke loose. So he had to be swift, quick, and silent. And he had backup. He had police there. He had his family there because sometimes, you know, the hood rat can smell cheese. The hood rat can smell when you don't want to be with their ass no more. And they start doing extra shit like getting off their job early and all this carrying on and calling you every 5 minutes. But that's what happened. This woman, most likely she set this young man on fire because he was not taking her crap no more. And yeah, it's fun and games to her now because right now, 70% of her may feel like, yeah, I got my point across. He thought he got the right chick. He thought I was going to let him sit up there and do what he want to do and this and that, blah, blah, blah. So 70% of her probably feels redeemed, but I guarantee you, over time, when she got to keep going to court hearings, let me tell you something, these jails do not give a damn. People who's never been locked up before, they have the most difficulty understanding how the Department of Justice system works. They take their time getting to you. They'll give you all of these court dates, and every time you think your court date is finally coming up so you can get to your hearing and find out if you're going to be guilty or not guilty, whatever, they push it back. I've seen court cases get changed like 15 times. I worked in a facility in which I've had inmates. I had court on May 9th. Then they switched it to September. Then they switched it to December. These jokers take their time because, for one, they're overflooded with cases. They're overflooded with inmates and all of these criminal offenses and stuff. They're not in a rush, especially when you done murdered somebody. They definitely not in a rush to get to you because they know you're going to be locked up for a very long time. They don't be trying to deal with cases like that. What you don't understand is just the color of her skin. They not going to have no mercy on her. They're not going to have mercy on her murdering him like they would a white female or whatever the case is. She's not going to be able to plead temporary insanity, none of that, whatever. She just really messed herself up. But the most worst part about it is this young man died. His mother has to live with that grief. His family has to live with that loss. At least her family still get to see her. They'll be able to see her behind a glass window. But this man suffered. We talked about he had 90% of burn damages over his body. Do you realize how painful that is? Hell, just burning your finger on the stove. You feel that throbbing pain for like a week or two. 90% of this man's body, he suffered. He didn't die instantly where he didn't feel it. He suffered. And for that, her karma is going to make her suffer. Because one thing about it, he's gone now. No more damage, no more pain can be done. But her nightmares is just beginning. She's going to have to deal with his family being angry with her, hating her. She's going to be locked up away from her family. So you ask me, she getting the worst end of the stick because she can't do no more damage to him now than that she's already done. This is a really messed up situation, but this is why it's important that a lot of young men understand. You get young men who get turned out because the female was faster than them in the mind sexually, faster than them in the mind mentally. You got some women out here that are full of trickery and deception. And if you are a young man, you lack experience with women, you lack confidence, you don't have any real self-assurance about yourself. It don't take much for your ego to get stroked by a broken female. A man that's broken is going to always get attention from another broken female, because most women with real confidence, they don't want to deal with a broken man, a man who's not sure of himself, a man who does not have pride. I don't mean arrogance, but some type of confidence about himself. Nevertheless, y'all, this is why it's imperative. If you have a son, if you have a nephew or whatever, put them on game, man. You got a lot of ruthless, females out here. You know what I mean? These females, they built different. Women, from the beginning of time, we've always had our own vindictiveness to a certain degree. But these new level hood rats, they definitely more of a threat because they have more knowledge now compared to women back then. Not only that, they got the system, in their advantage, welfare system, the criminal justice system, perceives women as victims, even though there's other men that are also being physically and verbally harmed or whatever. They just have so much these days that they can use to their advantage. So if you are a young man, you're lame, you weak, you don't have a backbone, you let a female dominate you because you're so infatuated with how she looks, you're so infatuated with her head game to the point that you don't have no knowledge, no judgment. You're not trying to be educated on how ruthless some of these females are. You can eventually get caught up. And even worse, when there's a child involved, you have a lot of young men that are miserable, that are going through things at the age of 25 that you got grown men in their 40s and 50s that don't even have to deal with. You have a lot of young men out here making bad choices based on the strength that they are just infatuated with with a female giving them attention, with a female giving them head, with a female that's stroking their ego. And they don't realize that a lot of these females stroke their ego just so they can destroy them, just so they can sabotage them. So it's very important as a man that you don't think because a woman looks a certain way that she's less capable of harming you compared to a woman that's unattractive. A ruthless ass woman is a ruthless ass woman. The demons come in all kind of shapes and forms, gentlemen. So don't think because you have a Becky with the good hair or you're with a Vanna White that you swear going to always be right, that you're less capable. You're invincible from getting played, from getting hurt, from getting, basically getting manipulated. Don't think you have it all together because you have a certain woman that fits a certain standard. Because when a woman is out for a vengeance, it does not matter what color she is. All women to a certain degree have their own maliciousness, but it's just that you have some women who take it to a whole nother level. And in this case, this female did. So anyway, y'all, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what you think about this unhinged female incel. What's your opinion on it? Let me know what y'all think. Do you really think she's going to get some serious time for this? Do you think that something sparked? He manned up to her. He said something to her that provoked her to want to throw fire on him. Want to throw gasoline on him. What do you think is the probability of what provoked her? If not that scenario, what scenario do you have? I'm interested in getting y'all feedback. I would like to know y'all opinion on this. Nevertheless, my heart goes out to both families, the families of Mr. Doyle, and the family of her as well. You know, I don't have no sympathy for her, but I do empathize with her family because, again, you know, we don't always get to see signs that we have a family member that's destructive, that there's a female or a male counterpart that you think you know so well. You know, you never really know what people are truly capable of. So, you know, you can't get mad at her family, you know, or his family. So my heart definitely goes out to both. Let me see. I know his last name is Doyle. I forgot. Oh, her last name is Johnson. So my heart goes out to the Doyles, and my heart goes out to the Johnsons. Hopefully they find a way to be at peace with each other and not blame each other in this process. Miss Johnson made that decision on her own. Mr. Doyle is the victim, but neither families need to have animosity towards one another. I'm sure if somebody knew it would have come to this, somebody would have tried to intervene. But just you'll find out in life, and I'm finding out in life as I get older. A lot of things you're not gonna have no control over. It don't matter if you got a college degree. It don't matter if you have a lot of money. It's still going to be things you're going to go through that you're not going to be prepared to go through. So anyway, y'all leave y'all comment below. Anybody who loves to donate to the chat, to my platform, I definitely appreciate it. I did get a donation yesterday. I did get a $5 cash app from, I need to give a shout out to that person. Let me look that up. Washington. I'm not going to give the first and last and both. I'm just saying, Mr. Washington, thank you for the $5 donation. Your comment was for thanks for all of your content, Lady Mocha. And I appreciate the donation so much. Thank you for supporting my platform and my brand, and I appreciate the donation. So anyway, y'all leave y'all comment below and we'll chop it up later. I will be uploading some more content because I am way behind. So I think today is going to be Mocha's double shots. So I'm probably going to upload something else later on. So nevertheless, make sure you have your notification on, y'all, so that way when I upload, you will not miss out. Remember, it is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. So I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Be blessed.